Hi, it's Howard here from HMB Music. We're going to go through the next section of how to do home recording, and in this section I'm going to talk about panning all the different sounds so that you get them nicely spread across the stereo mix. I'm going to go through my preference and I will then post at the end of the video all of the settings for the major instruments of the orchestra. Of course you can do your own settings, but this is what I tend to do. I start, if I've got a piano, by putting that in the centre using C on the setting. And I do that because if the piano is a major instrument, I want it to have the full expressive range from the bass to the treble and for that to come across the stereo mix. So I usually put piano in the centre. If I don't put it in the centre, I might put it slightly off centre, perhaps 10 or 20 off centre. Now, you'll notice that you can go from 0 to 100 and from 0 to 100 in the other direction, so 0 being in the middle, and you can double click in the case of Cakewalk Home Studio here. So now we come to the strings. Now let's say these are violins, then for those I'm going to use left 40 to put the violins on the left hand side of the orchestra predominantly. I definitely don't go for the extremes of 100% one side or the other. You might do that for a special effect, but you wouldn't normally want that to be the norm. Okay, and then we've got no violas, we've just got some cellos and basses. They're mixed together in the same track. I could have separated them. The cellos are set to right 30, so to the right hand side of the stage. If I had double basses, I'd put those to right 50. French horn is set to left 33, so a little bit to the left hand side. I've got some trumpets here. The trumpets are set to right 33, the same distance as the French horns but on the other side of the orchestra. The trombones are set to right 50, further off to the right. Now we come to the percussion. Now if you've got various types of percussion, you might want to spread them out a little bit, but have them fairly closely bunched together as is the norm in an orchestra. So I've got a glockenspiel here which I've put 15% to the left. I could have put it further to the left. Sometimes the percussion is a little bit off to the left, a bit more, but I've put 15%. I've got some timpani which I've put 20%, so a little bit further off to the left. Then I've got a flute which I've put 10% to the left, and I've got an oboe which is 10% to the right, slightly on the other side. And then finally percussion, I'm using various kinds of other percussion, and this isn't a conventional drum kit MIDI selection, but it's the classical drums MIDI selection I'm using on my sound module, and on that I've decided to go with the stereo pan range set for all the different instruments. So in other words, the defaults, which will, some of them will be on the left, some on the right, but it gives me a kind of a nice stereo pan effect for those as well. So by setting all these, you're going to give a nice wide expansive sound which, you know, is going to sound good when all the instruments are playing together, when you're playing back through, in this case it's back through MIDI. But if you're doing this with audio files, the same would apply of where you place the instruments. And now I'm going to summarise this in a screen which you can pause and then you can take a screenshot for your own use. Please like and subscribe.